The views expressed on this show by guests and the host on issues outside of the 9/11 controlled demolition evidence are the opinions of those individuals alone and do not necessarily reflect those of architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 9/11 Freefall. I am the host, Andy Steele, and tonight we're going to be revisiting Palestine Charity Team. This is the group that we brought on the show a couple of months ago to talk about some of the work that they are doing out in Palestine, helping the families there try to survive amidst the terrible bombardment and other atrocities taking place. Of course, we all know what happened in October. They are on the ground, bringing people the supplies they need, helping to try to get them out. We're going to be getting into more detail about some of their current work so that supporters of AE 9/11 Truth can help them out if they choose to. But let's go ahead and bring our guests in. The first one is Allaaeldin Abuasaker. He is the CEO and founder of Palestine Charity Team, which is a nonprofit organization in Palestine, helping people in need and undertaking many projects to help improve the lives of Palestinians in their difficult conditions. He is joined by Kelly David, who is the vice president and board treasurer for Palestine Charity Team. She's also the former COO here at AE 9/11 Truth. She's responsible for a lot of the growth and success we had here at AE over the last 10 years, and now she's taking her energy to help the people of Gaza. So, guys, welcome back to the show.
Thanks. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Andy.
So I gave a very brief introduction of Palestine Charity Team. Sir, I know you can do it much better than I can. Please remind our audience, in case they did not see the last broadcast, what Palestine Charity Team is and what you guys were doing before the events of October took place.
Okay, well, this is Allaaeldin, the CEO of Palestine Charity Team. As you know, Palestine Charity Team working in the ground in Rafah camps, since 2017, helping, Palestinian refugee in Rafah, in south of Gaza Strip. So we start, with a big story in Rafah with from the kids. He had he's suffering from scleroderma, and we said this should be a very necessarily non-profit organization working in the ground in Rafah camps, to help Palestinian refugee. So now, before we were helping Palestinian refugee, now we are, helping displaced people from the southern of Gaza Strip. They came to the Rafah camps, So a lot of things we do in the ground, we are visit the people in the tents, and see how their life and what they need, especially in basic necessities, to survive, So after that, we bring what they ask or what they need exactly, to distribute it, in the ground, for the people, under the tents. So Palestine Charity mission, is keeping, continue in Rafah camp, and we all, appreciate the donor and the supporter all over the world, and as you know, Kelly is the treasurer, and she knows everything that we raised from the campaign, from media fundraisers, from our website, all of this stuff. So we raised 36,000 from United Aid in the Denmark, in Danish, in dinner event. So that's gonna be for Ramadan project. We have so many projects, working right now still working, like distributing a hot meal. The volunteer cook the hot meal and distribute it for the people, in the tents. So, and also we're entertaining projects that we go day by day in the school and in the tents, for the kids, to have fun, to keep them, like in safe environments, and get the trauma out of them. So another project also that we had a vegetable basket and also food basket and breakfast for the displaced. We are making a bread, the volunteer making a bread and with a tuna and some basic necessities for the breakfast and distribute it for the displaced. So this is BCT what he doing now in Rafah.
Absolutely necessary, and I imagine it must be very difficult to get just the basic 4 food groups for your average person right there out in the street. And of course, if you don't have your health, then what do you have? You can't deal with a difficult situation unless you are okay first. So getting people the food that they need and the right proportions. I'm sure dietitians would know better than I what those are, but basically getting them that nutrition is key for them trying to be able to at least wrap their mind around their situation and help to survive. And of course, keeping the kids entertained too is so important because being in a situation like this, it's got to have psychological effects on them moving forward in their lives. Anything you can do to ease their burden, even if it's just a concert for an afternoon or some kind of activity where they're painting or whatever, to get your mind off of the situation that for a lot of these people, they can do nothing about right now. So entertainment is so important. It helps people forget sometimes the problems that they're having, at least for an hour or so. Kelly, even before leaving AE 9/11 Truth, you were heavily involved in the issue of what's happening in Palestine. It's been happening for several decades. It didn't just start back in October. Maybe to some people, if they just watched the news, they would think that, but that is not the case. What made this such an important issue for you that got you involved?
That's a good question. Why did this happen? I guess because of all the lies. I think that was what really did it for me. I think it was it was around 1999 or so. I have told this story on Free Fall 1,000 times. I got into the JFK assassination when I was 12, and then I realized that our government had lied to us. So at a young age, I knew, and then I just sort of kept on researching things because I didn't trust anything that the U.S. government said. And then when I learned about what was going on over there, I was just beyond shocked that that could actually take place and that they could lie so easily about it. And I remember very specifically in 1999 reading different papers and what they were saying about what was going on. And I was watching Al Jazeera on a satellite TV in 1999. And it's just couldn't believe how much they were lying to us. And I would deliberately buy papers just to see what they were saying. And so, so I think because of the lies, maybe that was what really drove me. I don't know. I just couldn't believe how insane it was. And then I just kept moving back throughout history, studying Zionism and things like that. And it's really a messed up situation. It's absolutely out of control. And it's an issue I cared about, and I've never hid this, cared more about than 9/11, as much as I did for 9/11. It's an issue I cared much more about. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, for these people, it is still happening to them literally every single day. And even before October, they were still dealing with very difficult conditions. I remember I watched a documentary by John Pilger about what was going on. Now, this was back in the 70s. He made this thing, and it was still horrible. So it's been this continuous occupation, this open air prison. You called it a concentration camp last time you were on the show. Whatever you want to call it, it's something that most Americans, people here who get agitated if the Wi-Fi goes out for 2 minutes, I don't think they would have the fortitude to be able to endure if they were suddenly put in that spot. I think the Palestinians, this is me speaking for me personally, I think they have had enough. I think that we need to have some kind of solution that respects everybody's dignity and rights and allows people to be able to live, have the freedom to live a normal life free of this kind of oppression. And maybe we will get that world as a result of everything that's going on, but there's going to be some bad stuff that happens probably in the short term before we get there. Let's talk about the events that took place in the fall. I know that there was a big shift at Palestine Charity Team as a result of them. As you heard about the events taking place, what was your reaction to it? Like, I know there was a lot of Muslim people in the United States on September 11th who were very concerned as the event was unfolding, saying, oh my God, Muslims are going to be persecuted now in the United States, and a lot of them were. Was this your concern? What was going through your mind as you were hearing the news?
So, well, Palestinian people, suffering, since 70 years, or also more than this. And we are still like work hard to build our dream or our life, or see the light on the subway, So every day is in Gaza. You can't imagine how you can live it under the war, even before 7 October. It's pretty hard, to live in like a siege, under a siege, and without electricity, without clean water, with unemployed percentage is like 64%. You can't get a job, but I'm lucky for my case. I back from Egypt to Gaza in July 2023, and I got a job as teacher beside my old teacher, in the same school that I studied. So the same school that I graduate. And after I complete master, I got a job there, and I was teacher for 2 weeks. And then 7 October start, and everything and every dream is destroyed, like demolished, and goes on the behind of us. And as Palestinian, we can rebuild our dream again. But I know we need more time, but our children, should know that we are strong enough, as a human, can fall down and stand up again. Yeah, and we need a time for that, I'm sure. But the case is, everything that we have is gone, like the home and the better life. Like now the people have no electricity since 7 October, and clean water, and also they trying to get food very hard, and it's a huge need for the people. 1 million, more than 1,400,000 people live in Rafah now, so it's a huge need, and it will take a while for to restart, like a new life or a new dream or a new hopes, to them.
Can the new life, the new dream, happen under the current conditions, however? And I watch the news intermittently. It depresses me a lot. So I haven't looked at the news today, but it doesn't seem like the assault is stopping. Under the current conditions, can people even go about rebuilding their lives, or how do you rebuild it when something else could happen next year where they justify doing the same kind of mass assault. What does that got to be like psychologically for you and for the people that you know out in Gaza?
Okay, I will talk about my case because as a Palestinian, you know, there is many Palestinian like me and like my personality. They can stand up again. As a Palestinian, live under the war like more than 136 days under the war, and came to Egypt and, you know, looking for the PhD program to study, you know, again, you know, that you can't imagine that, you know, the people after a war, or, you know, after a war, they need a while to just, you know, to forget everything. But I just came to Egypt to looking for a DBA program, you know, to because the education is the pathway to betterment in life and betterment for society and culture, and rebuild a dream also, and you know, spread awareness to the other.
Well, you know, in the midst of all of this, and this is what people lose sight of, you know, you grow up in American schools, they teach you about wars as if it's, you know, Rocky 1, 2, and 3 or something. You know, it's like a couple of people going at it, but it's really just groups of people and a lot of people being drawn into it because of circumstance, even though the conflict, whatever sparked it, had nothing to do with them. And so in the midst of all of this chest pounding between, you know, people who are really pro-Israel and other people who are, you know, pro Hamas and what they did, there are people trapped in the middle of this. And there's people in Palestine who find themselves on the receiving end of this when they did not do anything wrong. They're just trying to pursue their dreams, their life, their PhD programs, their businesses, no different than the American people. And any Americans, I'm saying this out to the audience right now, any of you Americans, you know, that same let's turn Afghanistan into a parking lot crowd after 9/11, anybody who is cheering this on, saying, well, so what, who cares, they're all terrorists anyway. I'm going to tell you what Sophie Scholl told the Nazis in that movie about her, and I think it's based off of real life. Someday you will be facing a tribunal the same as she is. So someday your grandkids are going to be talked about the same way that you're talking about these people in these other countries, because karma is a real thing and it will come back. So we need to come back from the brink of insanity out there, and we need to help as many people as we can who have nothing to do with any of the politics going on. They're just trying to live. Kelly, I know you know a lot of people over there. What is it like for you to have to follow all of this devastation taking place and be so far away from it, to know it's happening, but essentially not be able to do anything about it?
It's horrible. That's a tough question, Andy. Thank you for that one. Yeah, no, obviously it's horrible. I mean, it's something that has been, you know, depressing and sad since I learned about this. But I never in a million years thought it would ever get this bad. I kind of did right after everything started. I thought, will they go that far? Will this be like the next Nakba? Is it possible? I did kind of think that a little bit, but I don't know, really. I mean, I guess it's hard. I mean, I talked to, you know, Allah's in Egypt now, which is great, you know, so I know that he's okay. But yeah, knowing people who are there and knowing what they're going through, it's tough. It makes, I mean, the whole thing just makes it so much harder. I mean, it's hard enough to, you know, kind of, I guess everybody's upset about it, you know, who cares about it. But when you know people there and you know who they are as a person, especially like I've known Allah for what, 8 years now, something like that. So yeah, it's been a long time, and it was just, yeah, it was really hard. It was almost like kind of experiencing it in a way, but being so far away and not being able to do anything, that helplessness is so frustrating. It's like I've said that many times in the last few months, like I've never felt this frustrated and helpless in my life. So yeah, it's tough.
you try to do what you can do. And it's, unfortunately, from my end, there's so little that I can do other than this. Some people might get mad because we're not talking about 9/11 for a minute. If they don't, they can certainly, there's a back button, or you can go type in Google into the search bar and turn this off. But if you're interested in actually helping people, not just, posting memes on Facebook, this is, stay tuned in, because you actually can. We're going to get to that part. But I think that everybody doing whatever they can, whatever talent they have, if you're an artist, if you can put out some kind of inspiring picture or something that conveys your feelings to the world, I think everybody needs to be all hands on deck right now. This is such a clear-cut case of wrong versus right, in my opinion. And we can't let this story go on, turn it into the American Indians story, where this mostly a genocide takes place. And, we don't really acknowledge it until like 100 years later. And by then it's like, well, what are you going to do? No, something needs to be acknowledged right now. Now, Al, I know you got family, you got friends over there in Gaza. You eventually made the choice to leave Gaza and go to Egypt. How difficult was that choice for you?
I will still talk to my case, because everything that I said, which is I lived this case, when I arrived to Cairo, I didn't sleep like 1 week, the whole week I slept like 7 hours. So you can imagine that I'm thinking of my family, to get my family out, and to be here in safe place. It's better to help other also, to continue to help family, in Rafah camps, as PCT did. Also, it's really hard to leave your home, to be like to feel homesick. It's really difficult, it's hurt, and it's unbelievable for the human, who feel like with other people and other friends and other members of families. I know we lost a lot of friends in the war, and a lot of colleagues and family members, but we said it's okay, we will rebuild that again, but we can't rebuild the soul of the people who goes. Also, to leave Gaza forever, it's really hard. But for my case and my dream, to achieve it, I can do that. But my family will not. They will stay in Egypt since the ceasefire start, or anything, can happen, for our city, Rafah.
Yeah, well, it's very difficult. Some people have the ability to get out, even though it's incredibly difficult to get that ability. Other people do not. And of course, they should not be in the situation to begin with. Kelly, people tend to look at the big picture, and they overlook the fact that the big picture is actually made up of a bunch of tiny pictures. So how does one person helping another there in Gaza, helping them escape the conditions there, or at least getting them supplies to be able to make it through another week, how does that fight in the big picture context? How does that fight in the big picture context?
I don't understand that question at all, Andy. I said again, like that doesn't make sense.
That's right. I'm going to get off the canned, the pre-written question here. People always look at the big picture. They always say, okay, I'm going to just talk about the overall situation, but if I try to help one person there, what difference is it going to make? Let's say, I help one teenager get into Egypt with a donation. Okay, but that's not going to stop Israel from bombing Gaza, right? So why is that faulty logic? How does helping one person help the fight in the big picture context, the overall situation?
I guess the best answer would be, obviously every little bit helps. And that's sort of the way it goes. We get little donations from people who give $5, but that $5 actually goes somewhere and can actually help. So I don't know. I think, yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who have that kind of mindset. Like, what's the point? I can only help one person or whatever. They're still going to do it. But I feel like, if you have a heart, you would do whatever you could, even if you're just helping one person. So I guess that's the best answer.
Yeah, and also, Andy, there is important things that the things that we have ability to get a family member. It could be, there is a condition you should have a family member here in Egypt to get, any other family's member. Like, it should be like a relative in the 1 degree. Like, you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So if you help one member, he can get the other member. That's what I mean.
Right. So you get one person to safety. Maybe they want to get their brother or their father or their mother or whoever down there. And so it becomes like a trickle, and they start trickling out. And eventually you get a whole lot of them out, and you help protect an entire group of people there. And the thing is, too, I'm kind of deceptive in how I frame that question, because I said, helping just one person. It's never just one person. All right. Helping one person can make a huge difference, and it makes a difference to that person. All right. Let's say you've got a mother who wants to get their kid out. Maybe she can't go for whatever reason, whatever condition, but she wants to get her kid out. Even if she ends up dying in the bombing, if she can know that she got her child out into a safe place, that child can grow up, live out their lives, live their dreams, then at least that takes that burden off her shoulders in the final equation. And I don't believe people are measured by what they accomplish in life or any accolades or anything like that. But if you're one of those people out there, maybe that one person is the person with the right brain power and kind of thinking to cure cancer someday, or invent the warp core engine or whatever turns you on. You have no idea. It's never just one person. And if everybody contributes just a little and helps one other person, it can turn the tide in the big picture. Again, the big picture is made up of many small pictures. So, Ali, you've made it to Egypt now. Is it difficult to be able to work with the team over there from another country? And how do you plan to carry on the next leg of Palestine Charity Team's mission from Egypt?
Well, PCT, when I was in Gaza, we paid for solar panel, to have electricity, and in order that we can get a Wi-Fi in our office, or in the place also where we cooking and where we serve the people, in Rafah camps. So we have internet, but it depends on the sun. In the winter, the solar panel cannot fill the battery that we have, and it's some hour it's cut off, and some hour it's turned on, and now we have connection with our coordination, Bakr, and we are preparing for Ramadan project, to distribute a food basket, and to cook for a hot meal, and also to distribute water, clean water for the families who live under the tents and also we're gonna distribute a juice for the displaced before their breakfast in Ramadan, you know. So we are lucky to have a connection, you know, in Rafah, you know, from Egypt to Rafah. We are very, very lucky because there are many don't have the connection with the coordination, you know. So that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's my theory too. 'Cause I remember when I went to Peace Corps in Uzbekistan, you know, a lot of people come down there with this attitude, oh, we're from the West, we're going to tell you how to do things. And they get down there and they realize they don't have a clue what to do. And actually the local people are the ones who are better to call the shots because they actually know the situation. They know exactly how things work in their community that they've grown up in for their entire lives. And so I think that your group is in one of the best positions to be able to actually help people down there rather than some foreign power, even if they're allowed to come in. Maybe they can bring supplies, but there's certain things about in terms of being able to find certain supplies and whatnot and knowing how to communicate with the locals there. And I'm speculating, I'm guessing here, but I would think that people who are under such heavy bombardment may not be very trustful of foreigners at this moment. So it's better to be able to be dealing with locals. I mean, is this a proper speculation on my part, Alla, or am I way off?
You're right. I think you're right. I think you got the right idea, Andy.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You are.
All right. So, Kelly, I think a lot of people, too, we know this. I mean, you were here at 1811 Truth. We know that people that we deal with, you know, they're so upset by what's going on in the world, not just with 9/11, not just with this, but with everything. We have watched our own government slip out of our fingers more and more in the last 23 years. Than I think a lot of people have in the previous 200 years of American history. And a lot of people are just looking to do things as an act of protest. You know, it's the reason that they show up to rallies and things like this, holding up big signs. You know, it's not that the president's going to see your sign and get so mad over that sign, he's not even paying attention to it. But you feel like you're doing something, right? It's the reason I troll Joe Biden every once in a while. I know he's not reading it. It just makes me feel good. But this is something where you can actually help somebody over there. And I think that when you do that, it's an actual act of protest because they don't want you to. They want you to get on your iPhone, giggle at a cat video or some girl dancing in her underwear on TikTok, be caught up in that, be like the middle what? The Middle West? The Middle East? Oh, I don't know what's going on there. TV told me that Israel's taking care of it and to just continue watching this TikTok video. That's what they want people to do. But when you actually get involved, they get really annoyed by that. They don't like that. So I think this is an act of protest. I think it's the best act of protest rather than just posting a meme about this. And I'm not dissing on people who do that. But, you know, you get shadow banned, the algorithm boxes you into the corner. Maybe your 3 friends that agree with you see it, and that's about it. This is a real act of protest. Kelly, talk about supporting Palestine Charity Team as an act of protest, given everything I just laid out.
Okay. I'm glad you laid it all out like that. Yeah, no, that's a good point that you made there. Yeah, no, it is a good act of protest. I think that every time I send money over there, it's my way of sticking my middle finger up to good old Uncle Sam over here. Yeah, no, it's good because, I mean, like, Allah didn't even explain a lot of the things that we've done. I mean, we've done a lot even before, and, you know, we were in Rafah, which was where most of the displaced people are. I mean, that was good, you know, that, you know, we were in a somewhat safe place, and I knew that the people I know were in a safe place. But there was so much that we did. I mean, you're right. Of course we pivoted because we had multiple projects going on that we switched to. It was just all about humanitarian aid. But he didn't mention how, like, they actually built 30 tents and they were like actually constructed rather well. I think they had some sort of construction consultant or something. It wasn't an engineer or something, whatever, but they were like, these tents were big enough to like hold a whole family. They also rented like a tanker truck filled with water that he could drive around, and there were people lined up, you know, picking up water with their little buckets. And besides that, I mean, all the food, literally every day something is going on, you know, we're doing something. So yeah, it is a good way to protest against this, because the best thing about it, and I said this before on Free Fall and other times, is that none of us are paid, you know, so the money just goes straight to helping people. You know, we have very little overhead, and nobody gets paid. So it is good. It is a good act of protest in order to do that, because you are helping people. And like I said, you know, we're in a situation where our volunteers are literally in the area where most of the citizens who are left are there. So we're able to do that. So yeah, donating to us and helping you, it is a form of protest for sure.
Absolutely. And it's a way of helping the heroes down there. I mean, you know, we got all these superhero movies and everything, but you actually got people on the ground helping save people. And then there's people helping them, backing them up. Maybe they can't travel to Gaza and get personally involved in that way, but if you've got the money to be able to help them and back them up, you can certainly do that. And I guarantee you, Washington, D.C. will not like it. It's legal. You can do it. You know, but they want you distracted and dumb. So don't be. And this is a way that you can help out. So let's talk about the fundraisers that are going on. Alla, how do people donate? They start following Palestine Charity Team. They get involved and be part of your community, your charitable family.
You know, to clarify something, you know, the fundraising for my family is, you know, it is fine for my family. It's not, you know, publishing or posting on PCT. You know, PCT have a lot of projects that, you know, we are focusing on, and special donor for the PCT. And my family is I'm asking my friend, you know, around the world, you know, to help my families, you know, like a team member families, you know, have to get out and to get something here in Egypt, you know, to to have their, you know, their clothes, you know, because they will live, you know, without anything, you know, just a little bit suitcase, you know, from a three floor, you know. So they're gonna get out, you know, with a little suitcase, and they have to pay everything's here, you know, in Egypt, you know, to stay for some time.
Right. And so when we send out the bulletin, we're going to have a link to the fundraiser to try to help Alla's family get out of Gaza. We're also going to have a link to Palestine Charity Team. Folks, you know, we're going to start running a little sneak preview here. We're going to start running commercials at the beginnings of these free falls telling you to not only like and subscribe to our channel, but also to sign up for our emails, because we know there's a censorship algorithm. It's not any kind of secret to us. They're hoping they can just strangle us and keep our stuff from appearing at the top of the search. You know, when somebody does something about 9/11 truth, you get a face full of the official story in your face. You know, we know that's going on. So we're going to tell people to start emailing or signing up for our emails. You can do the same thing with Palestine Charity Team. You can sign up for their emails. You can know what's actually going on, not through the filter of CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and them telling you what's going on. You can actually find out from the people who are there and the great work that is happening. So, you know, go to 1811truth.org. Sign up for our subscriptions or email subscriptions if you haven't done so. But also go to Palestine Charity Team. Sign up for the emails. And this will be not just you know, to hear about the great projects that they're doing, but you'll get an idea of what's going on really on the ground from the people who are living it. It's the best way to get real news out there, is just to hear the personal accounts, to see the pictures. They got beautiful pictures. I've seen a folder of them, of the beautiful children there who are caught in the middle of this. And there's little smiling faces, even amidst all of this devastation, because they're being entertained for a few hours. Those are the sights that lift your spirits during these dark times. So please go ahead and sign up for their emails. And there'll be 2 links in the bulletin, as you'll see. So I'm going to ask both of you this, and you're going to have varying opinions being in different countries. I'm not going to say I'm shocked. I'm shocked by nothing anymore. But I'm a little surprised that this is still going on. Even, what are we in? March? Yeah, we're in March now. March. The events happened on October 7th, and you would think, okay, even if you were someone that was kind of on the fence about this, in the middle, didn't really care, you would think, geez, Israel's made your point, but they are just, this is all still taking place. Where can this attack go from here? What do you think is going to come in the next few months? We'll start with Allah.
Well, as I heard from news, tomorrow they have they should have a sit in Egypt, to look for ceasefire, before Ramadan, because this is the last opportunity, for ceasefire, in this time. Well, I think if it's still going on, under Ramadan or in Ramadan, it will be horrible, because the Palestinian people in West Bank is not like they are not like moving around. They still, but a lot of Israel army against and shot them in West Bank, even in the same time that's the war happening in Gaza. So I think if it's fight tomorrow, the ceasefire, so the people will still starving and hunger, and they are talking about to drop food in Gaza, so what does that mean, for the people, for the doctor and engineering who are running, under the drops, to get a little food, and probably he will not get it, where they want to get our dignity, as a Palestinian. So this is not make any sense. This is just justification for the social media and the media and all over the world, that's we are helping, we are dropping food, we are entering the trucks, more than 1,000 truck is still waiting to enter Rafah crosses in the Egypt side. So this is just like a game on a media, but in the current situation in Gaza is really, really hard.
Yeah, well, and it's going to continue to be, because when you blow up a bunch of the infrastructure and the things that people were relying on, it takes some time to rebuild that or come up with new systems and a new way of living. Hence why a lot of them want to get out at this time. Kelly, I don't know. What do you think is going to, this again, we're speculating. We admit this. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. What do you think could happen in the next couple of months?
I honestly don't know. Like I said earlier, I remember a day or two after this started, I said, this doesn't look right. So a lot of this stuff doesn't add up. I'm worried this could get like really out of control, really bad. And I remember talking to several people about this, and I remember them saying, no, I don't think it'll get that bad. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. So honestly, I really don't know. I wish I knew the answer to that. I hope something will change, but it doesn't seem that way. I don't know.
Yeah, most people have a normalcy bias. They always assume that nothing big is going to happen. It's like somebody who lives near a volcano for 100 years, and then they're like, "Yeah, volcano never erupted," and all that time, and then it's erupting, and they're like, "Oh, it won't be that bad," and then they stay at home instead of evacuating, and they die because they're just, I don't know, they just don't think something could happen in their lifetime. Now, in my adult life, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff take place that I never thought would happen. So I expect anything. I don't make predictions or try to pretend I'm some prognosticator of the future. But, you know, I think that some healthy concern right now for the world is appropriate. Now, some countries are doing the right thing. Go South Africa. All right. They were in the World Court. They're calling this a genocide. They were taking Israel to task for this. I know other countries have spoken out about what's taking place. Allah, do you think, I mean, is that enough though? Does that really carry any weight for the stopping the situation?
Well, I think, you know, the country have enough power, you know, to stop this is the US, you know, and there is many country wish, you know, this could stop, you know, now before today, now before tomorrow, I mean. So I think it will take a while for the end of the year, you know, but there is ceasefire, and South Africa did a good job, and we wish, you know, another country can, you know, do the same to stop the genocide and the ethnic cleansing for against the people, you know, who are just human as we are.
Yeah, that's right. The United States is in the biggest role to be able to stop this. Of course, we know the situation here. We know exactly what goes on with our government. And, you know, we know that's not going to happen, at least with this administration. Probably not with future ones either. Kelly, same question. Other countries speaking out, such as South Africa. Is this enough? Is this going to have any effect in the long run?
I would hope so, but I was actually talking about this yesterday. You know, when it comes to the U.S. and Israel, it means everyone else is going to follow along, like most of Europe and every other country. So, you know, I would love for other countries to kind of actually, you're right. You know, when you said yay, South Africa, because actually someone did something. I would love for other countries. It's very strange because it seems like the people of all these different countries are totally on our side, yet the governments are not. And they're afraid of upsetting the US in one way or another because they're either getting aid or whatever. It's just, it's a typical, it's because that's what I said. I said that yesterday. I was like, because the US is involved in this, it doesn't give me much hope.
Well, I think the U.S. is too powerful now, and I live here. Look, I don't want to see my apple cart, shook too much. I'm 45 now. As I get older, you want more stability in life. I don't want to see our economy fall apart. I don't want to see some major stuff go down in my lifetime. But the U.S. is way too powerful, and it's misusing that power. It is not a benevolent force. That is Andy T. Steele talking right there. The United States is not a force for good in the world anymore, and it needs to step back. I don't think that's going to happen until we have the apple cart shaken up here in this country. I'm not calling for any violence or anything like that, but I am telling the people of America that you owe your government absolutely nothing. Do not fall for all the patriotic rhetoric the next time it gets itself in any trouble. All right, there is no we. When they're telling you we need to do this, there is no we. There's you. There's you, and whoever you are close to, whoever your friends and allies are in your life. But Joe Biden or whoever becomes president next, has nothing to do with your life. You need to think about yourself and do what's good for you and not go along with any other person's agenda. And that's the way that you will survive things if they do indeed collapse. And, you know, all of this money printed to send to Israel and over to the Ukraine. And then you go to the supermarket and the prices of things are getting out of control now. So and your wages aren't going up equal to that, are they? So it is affecting you at home. You know, even if you're the most self-centered person in all of the United States, all right, you need to think about this also from your own perspective, because your savings are being eroded by these overseas adventures. And this kind of leads into my next question. We'll start with Alla. I know you're not from the United States, but I think you can have a good perspective from being a Palestinian. Why should Americans care? Why should Americans, you know, it's across an entire ocean, across another continent. Why should they care about what's going on to the people in Palestine? How does this affect us from your perspective?
Well, my opinion is United States provide so many, you know, things, you know, to Israel to kill us and to bombing us. And now the US drop a food, you know, to Gaza. You know, can you see the different? It's one country do the same, do positive things. This is my answer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly.
And we are talking about a port, you know, to build a port, you know, to provide the people in the north of Gaza some food, you know, this time. But as I said before, there is 1,000 truck are waiting, you know, in Rafah, and you know it could be easily enter Rafah, you know, because you know Rafah is just 40 kilometers, like 35 miles, you know. So Israel just, you know, make a difficult, you know, interest for the trucks, and that's why there is 1,000 trucks are waiting, you know, to enter Gaza Strip.
Yeah, well, and you know, you go drop food on people, almost like you're throwing a pork chop on the floor for your pet or whatever, but you're supplying weapons to the other side that is doing all of this devastation. Whatever happened to just minding your own business, to just trying to make our lives better here? I saw a picture from Palestine, 1944. Somebody had posted this on Facebook. It was this beautiful resort, nice beach. Yeah. And I'm thinking, you know, things looked a lot better in the 40s here too. Maybe we didn't have the technology we do now, but you know, just in terms of overall life and morality and all of those things. And I thought, you know, maybe it's just better to mind your own business and stay out of other people's countries and stop trying to conquer the world. And then everybody benefits. And you know what? At some point, I'm kind of busy right now in life, but when I retire, I want to travel again. I actually want to go to Egypt, where you are right now. I want to see the Great Pyramids. I want to see all the history in Greece and Italy, all over the place. And I want to travel around in the Middle East and see all of those biblical relics and all of that stuff. It would be nice to make friends there. It would be nice to have the goodwill that I felt when I was in other countries before this stuff really started happening and the big grab for empire took place, because the world is a better place when people generally, you know, when they're getting along, and why create all of this resentment out there? Kelly, you are an American. All right. Yes. Why should Americans care about what's happening over in Palestine?
Americans, this is tough. Americans should, obviously they should care, because I mean, what's going on over there is absolutely insane. But Americans, the majority of Americans, probably not your audience, but the majority of Americans just have their head buried in the sand. Either they don't know what's going on, or they just know what they're told, you know. And like I've talked about this several times. you know, I like to use certain people as examples, but just some people I know who really just only watch the news and only read the newspaper, have never read a book or looked anything up online. It's easy. Like I can be around that person and see how easily they can fall for this because it's such crap that they put out there. So yeah, like of course Americans should care. I mean, what's going on is absolutely horrible, and it has gone on for over 80 years, and it's been a mess all along. Nobody seems to care. Israel's allowed to break international laws. They're allowed to do whatever they want, and all you hear is how they have the right to exist, which to me is just sounds so silly. Like why like you don't hear other countries running around saying like we have the right to exist. It's like, well, you do exist, so why, like what does that even mean? It doesn't even make any sense. So yeah, of course Americans should care, but the majority of Americans are not going to care, or they're just going to listen to what their TV or their newspaper tells them. Of course they should care. What's going on over there is absolutely horrible. And if more people knew about it and more people actually did something about it, we wouldn't have to be doing the show right now. But, you know, this is a fight I've been having for 20 something years. Nobody wants to listen. So.
Well, I think this audience is going to listen. I've seen a lot of the 9/11 Truth Movement agrees with us. I mean, you might get some suspicious poster who says, you know, I'm a hardcore Zionist, but for some reason I'm also a 9/11 truther. It doesn't really make much sense to me, but that could be our tax dollars at work as well. But I think the majority of this audience sympathizes with what's going on to the Palestinian people, sympathizes with the Palestinian people, and they are looking to help out. So what I am doing as a public service right now is I am bringing on these great people who are actually there trying to help them, and Kelly is helping them from afar here in the United States, but they are actually bringing supplies to people. You help one person, that person gets out, they help another person, and who knows, maybe that person will be the key to some future development, some future innovation. But even if they aren't, because that is not what life is all about, accomplishments and all that stuff, even if they aren't, they mean something to somebody out there, just like your people mean something to you, your children, your brother, your sister, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. All right. You know, everybody is somebody to somebody else, and they don't have anything to do with this situation. Even if you're a hardcore Zionist out there who believes in the conquest, you know, these people didn't do anything. There's innocent people who are getting hurt, and that is not godly. If that's the God that you pray to, then he's got two big horns sticking out of his head and a pitchfork to stick in you when you meet him in the afterworld. So this is how you can help. Kelly, what is the website again?
PalestineCharity.org.
PalestineCharity.org. We're going to have a link to it here in the bulletins. But guys, thank you so much for what you are doing to help people there and for coming on 9/11 Free Fall today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Andy.
Hit that notification bell and slam the like button and subscribe. Thanks.